shattered trust. It seemed like an ordinary night. At least, that's what I told myself. The house lay in silence, except for the occasional groan of the old floorboards beneath my restless steps. Midnight had come and gone, yet my wife, Hannah, was still nowhere to be seen. Something felt wrong. She had mentioned a work dinner earlier in the day, brushing it off as routine. But there had been something in her voice, something distant, rehearsed. I glanced at my phone again. No missed calls. No messages. A gnawing unease settled deep in my gut, growing with each passing minute. The clock on the wall ticked on in merciless precision as I sat in the dimly lit living room, waiting. Then, at nearly 2 a.m., the sound of tires crunching against the driveway shattered the stillness. Her car. My heart pounded, though I wasn't sure if it was relief or dread that fueled it. I stayed motionless, listening as the front door creaked open. Hannah stepped inside, her heels clicking softly against the hardwood. The moonlight filtering through the window cast her silhouette in silver. She fumbled with her coat, her movements jittery, unsteady. That's when I switched on the light. She froze. Her wide eyes locked onto mine, shock flashing across her face as though she had just seen a ghost. Her usual poise was gone. She looked shaken, uncertain. She took a step back, her expression pale, lips parting as if searching for an excuse that wouldn't come. Late night, I said, my voice unnervingly calm. Leaning back in my chair, I swirled the amber liquid in my glass, my gaze never leaving hers. She swallowed, her throat working as though the air had turned to sandpaper. I told you it was a work dinner. It ran late. Her voice wavered, barely, but I caught it. I caught everything. That what you're calling it? I raised an eyebrow, taking a slow sip of my drink. I let the silence stretch, thick and suffocating. Funny, work dinners don't usually leave lipstick stains on a man's collar. Her face drained of color. Instinctively, she lifted a hand to her neck, fingers grazing against her own crimson lipstick. The room felt smaller, the air heavy with things left unsaid. "Daniel, I can explain," she started, her voice trembling. "Don't." My tone was sharp, slicing through whatever excuse she was about to offer. I stood, placing my glass on the table with deliberate care. My movements were slow, controlled, but inside, my thoughts raced. I took a step toward her. She took a step back, as if creating distance could shield her from the inevitable. "Don't insult me by pretending there's an explanation I'll believe," I said, my voice low, each word weighted with anger and betrayal. "Who is he?" Her mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. But no words came. The silence spoke louder than any confession. I made a mistake," she finally whispered, tears gathering in her eyes. "It meant nothing, Daniel. It was stupid, and I regret it." "Stop." My voice was cold now, sharp as broken glass. I looked at her, really looked at her. This was the woman I had loved for a decade, the woman with whom I had built a life, shared dreams. Now, she felt like a stranger standing in my home. "It meant nothing," I repeated, a bitter, humorless laugh escaping me. "You think that makes it better? That it was so meaningless you were willing to throw everything away for it?" Her tears spilled freely now, streaking the makeup she had so carefully applied. "Daniel, please. It was a mistake. We can get through this. I love you." That word, love, felt like a slap to the face. Love wasn't deception. It wasn't sneaking around at night. It wasn't coming home at 2 a.m., reeking of someone else's cologne. Love was trust, and she had shattered it. Without another word, I grabbed my jacket from the coat rack. "Where are you going?" she asked, panic creeping into her voice. "Out." I didn't look back. "Don't wait up." I didn't sleep that night. Instead, reclaiming freedom. I drove through the city with no destination in mind, navigating the same streets we had once walked hand in hand. Every familiar corner, every glowing streetlight, felt like a cruel reminder of the life I thought we had. The echoes of laughter, the stolen glances, the whispered promises, they all mocked me now. The sting of betrayal deepened with each passing hour, but as the night stretched into dawn, something inside me shifted. The anguish that had consumed me began to harden into something sharper, something unbreakable. I refused to let her ruin me. If Hannah had treated our marriage as disposable, she was about to learn how wrong she was. When I returned home, the house was steeped in silence. She was either asleep or pretending to be. It didn't matter. I had work to do. Over the following weeks, I played my role flawlessly. The devoted husband willing to repair what had been broken. I told her I wanted to move past this, that we could rebuild together. I accompanied her to therapy, listening as she wept over her mistakes, nodding at her guilt-ridden confessions. I reassured her, even held her as she cried into my shoulder. But behind the facade, I was setting my plans in motion. The first step was gathering proof. I scoured her phone, email, and social media, uncovering text messages, photos, and every damning detail she had carelessly left behind. She had assumed I wouldn't dig too deep. She had underestimated me. Next, I contacted a lawyer. I had always been meticulous when it came to our finances, ensuring that most of our assets were secured in my name. With an ironclad prenup in place, I was in the perfect position to protect what was mine. The final piece of the puzzle was the most satisfying. Through careful research, I discovered her lover, Matt, a colleague of hers. Married, smug, oblivious. Rather than confronting him myself, I took a different approach. Anonymously, I sent everything I had gathered to his wife. Let her handle him. Then I waited. The reckoning came faster than expected. On a quiet Saturday afternoon, I suggested we host a small dinner party, a chance to reconnect with friends. Hannah, eager to prove her dedication to mending our relationship, agreed without hesitation. She had no clue what was coming. As guests arrived, she played her part to perfection, laughing, pouring drinks, charming the room as if nothing had changed. I watched her, a slow, knowing smile curling at the edges of my lips. Midway through the evening, I stood, raising my glass. A toast, I announced, my voice even, to new beginnings. Hannah lifted her own glass, her smile faltering ever so slightly. But she recovered quickly. To new beginnings, she echoed. And to honesty, I added. A flicker of panic crossed her face. Before she could react, I continued, my tone casual yet deliberate. Actually, I have a little story to share with all of you. One about love, trust, and what happens when those things are betrayed. A hush fell over the room. Hannah's expression twisted into fear. Daniel, she started, her voice unsteady. I held up a hand, silencing her. Let me finish. I turned to our guests, my gaze sweeping the room. While I was busy building a future with my wife, she was busy exploring other opportunities. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Hannah paled, her breathing ragged as she seemed to shrink under their stares. But don't worry, I said, shifting my focus back to her. I've taken care of everything. The divorce papers are ready. The finances are secured. And as for your little secret, I leaned in slightly. It's not so secret anymore. I paused, letting the weight of my words sink in before delivering the final blow. Oh, and Matt sends his regards. Or maybe he doesn't. He's got his own mess to clean up now. Tears spilled down Hannah's cheeks, her carefully constructed world collapsing around her. But I felt nothing. No pity, no regret. She had made her choices. Now, she was paying the price. The party ended in uncomfortable silence, guests slipping out one by one, too stunned to speak. Hannah tried to reason with me, pleaded for another chance, but I was done listening. When she finally packed her bags and left, the house felt different, lighter, peaceful. It wasn't the ending I had envisioned for our marriage, but it was the one she had written for us. And as I sat alone in my living room, surrounded by the quiet, a realization settled over me like a breath of fresh air. I was free to rebuild, to start again, to find someone who valued loyalty and honesty as much as I did. And this time, I wouldn't settle for anything less.